ॐ शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां श्रीहयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्जसम्भावितललाटकं हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्रजं। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹரா. லோகவீரியம் மகாபூஜ்யம் சர்வரக்ஷாகரம் விபும் பார்வதி ஹிருதயானந்தம் சாஸ்தாரம் பிரணமாம்யகம். சுவாமியே சரணமையப்பா. வாகர்த்தாபிவ சம்பிரக்தௌ வாகர்த்த பிரதிபத்தயே जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ। श्री पार्वती परमेश्वराभ्यां नमः। कोमलं कूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरणभ्यर्थितानपि अर्थान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी द्रुममभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजोऽयं। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशीविभूषितकरात् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടുമീറക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചന നിന്നോടായി. ഏതീനു മഞ്ഞനെ കുമ്പിടേണ്ടാത്തോരു രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കെന്നായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, a few minutes late. Okay, so we have to do review of 82 and 83. Arti, can you do one? And Anu, can you do one? மியூட்ல இருக்கேன். ஆர்த்தி மியூட்ல இருக்கேன்.
ஓ, இப்ப கேக்குறதா?
கேக்குது. யா
ஐ அம் ஃபைன். சாரி, என்னோட இது டிராப் ஆயிடுச்சு. நீங்க சொன்னது கேட்கல.
Whichever one you guys want, one of you can do 182 and one can do 83.
I'll start, Anu.
Okay, sure.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Banayuddham Mriga Moksham Cha Pradyumno Raukmineyah Sakalu Tavakala Shambarena Hritastam Hatva Ratya Sahapto Nijapura Maharat Rukmikanyam Chadanyam Tatputro Taniruddho Gunanidhiravahad Rochanam Rukmipauत्री Tatro Dvahe Gadastvam Nyavadi Musalina Rukmya Vidyuta Vairat Banasya Sa Balisutasya Sahasrabahoho Maheshwarasya Mahita Duhita Kilosha Tvatpautramena Maniruddhamadrishtapurvam Swapnenubhuya Bhagavan Virahaturabhu Yoginyativa Kushala Kaluchitraleka Tasya Saki Vilikati Tarunanashesha Tatra Niruddhamushaya Viditam Nishayam Aneshta Yoga Balato Bhavato Nikedat Kanyapure Daitaya Sukhamaраmantam Chainam Katanchana Babandhushi Sharvabandau Srināradokta Tadutanta Durantaroshaihi Tvam Tasya Shonitapuram Yadubirnyarundaha Puripala Shaila Priya Duhitrunathosya Bhagavan Samam Bhuta Vrateryadubalamashamgam Nirurude Mahaprano Bano Jatiti Yuyudhanena Yuyude Guha Pradyumnena Tvamapi Purahantra Jagatishe Niruddhashe Shastre Mumuhushitavastrena Girishe Drita Bhuta Bhita Pramata Kulavira Pramatitaha Pura Skandat Skandah Kusuma Sharabanaisha Sachivaha Sakumbando Bandam Navamiva Balena Shubhibide Chapanam Panchashatya Prasabamubagate Chinna Chapeta Bane Vyarte Yate Sameto Jwarapati Rashanair Ajvari Tvajvarena Jnani Sutva Tadatva Tavajarita Jusham Vijvaram Sajvarogat Prayontar Jnanavanto Picha Bahutamasa Raudra Cheshta Hiraudraha Banam Nanayudogram Punarabhipatitam Darvadoshat Vitanvanna Nirluna Shesha Dosham Sapadi Bubudusha Shankarenopaditaha Tadvacha Shishtabahu Dvitayamubayato Nirbayam Tatpriyam Tam Muktva Taddattamano Nijapuramagamaha Saniruddhas Sahoshaha Muhustavachakram Varunamajayo Nandaharane Yamam Balanitau Davatahana Nilasakham Vidim Vatsaste Ye Girishamiha Banasya Samare Vibho Vishwotkarshi Dadayamavataro Jayatite Dvijarusha Krikalasavapurdaram Mrigalupam Tridivalayamapayan Nijajane Dvijabhakti Manuttamam Upadishan Pavaneshwara Pagima. Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha.
Very good.
Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Chapter 83. Rame ta Gokulagate Pramada Prasakte Bhutanupeta Yamuna Damane Madandhe Svairam Samaramati Sevakavada Mudo Dhutam Nyayungta Tava Paundrakava Sudevaha Narayano Hamavatirna Ihasmi Bhumau Datse Kilattvamapi Mamakalakshanani Utsrujyatani Sharanam Vrajamamiti Tvam दूतो जगाद सकलैर्हसितः सभायाम् दूते तया तवति यादव सैनिकैस्त्वं यातो ददर्शित वपुः किल पौण्ड्रकीयम् तापेन वक्षसि कृताङ्कमनल्पमूल्य श्रीकौस्तुभं मकरकुण्डलपीतचेलम् कालायसं निज सुदर्शनमस्य तोस्य कालानलोत्करकिरेण सुदर्शनेन शीर्षं च कर्तितममर्दित चास्य सेनां तन्मन्त्रिकाशिपशिरोऽपि चकर्थकाश्याम्
Tanmitra, the fourth line, first word.
Oh, sorry. तन्मित्रकाशिपशिरोऽपि चकर्तकाश्याम् जाल्येन बालकगिरापि किलाहमेव श्रीवासुदेव इति रूढमतिश्चिरं सः सायुज्यमेव भवदैक्यधिया गतोऽभूत् को नाम कस्य सुकृतं कथमित्यवेयात् काशीश्वरस्य तनयोत सुदक्षिणाख्यः शर्वं प्रपूज्य भवते विहिता विचारः कृत्यानलं कमपि वानरणातिभीतैः भूतैः कथञ्चन वृतैः सममभ्यमुञ्चत् तालप्रमाणचरणामखिलं दहन्तीं कृत्यां विलोक्य चकितैः कथितोऽपि पौरैः द्यूतोत्सवे किमपि नो चलितो विभो त्वं पार्श्वस्त्वमाशु विससर्जितकालचक्रम् अभ्यापतत्यमितधाम्नि भवन्महास्त्रे हाहेति विद्रुतवती खलु घोरकृत्या रोषात् सुदक्षिणमदक्षिणचेष्टितं तं पुप्लोषचक्रमपि काशीपुरीमधाक्षीत् सकलो विविधो रक्षोघाते कृतोपकृतिः पुरा तव तु कलया मृत्युं प्राप्तुं तदा खलतां गतः नरकसचिवो देशक्लेशं सृजन्नगरान्तिके झटिति हलिना युध्यन्नद्दापपाततलाहतः साम्बं कौरव्यपुत्री हरणनियमितं सान्त्वनार्थी कुरूणां यातस्तद्वाक्यरोषात् धृतकरिनगरो मोचयामास रामः ते घात्या पाण्डवेयैरिति यदुपृतनां नामुचस्त्वं तदानीं तं त्वां दुर्बोधलीलं पवनपुरपते तापशान्त्यै निषेधे. Krishnaaya Parabrahmanaha.
Very nice. I think everybody's become an expert now. Like any chapter, any time.
ராஜேஷ் ஒரே ஒரு கொஸ்டின் அந்த 82ல பராவா புறாவா நீங்க ரெக்கார்டிங்ல புறா சொல்றேன் ஆனா என்னோட புக்ல பரா அந்த இந்த இடத்துல சொல்றேன் 82ல 6th one பரா ஸ்கந்த குசும
என் புக்லயும் பரான்னு தான் இருக்கு.
பரா தான் இருக்கு. Okay, if I said pura, I'll check the recording. I might have made
ரெக்கார்டிங்ல புறா இருக்கு. ஆர்த்தியும் இப்ப புறான்னு தான் சொன்னா.
நான் மாத்திட்டேன்.
பராதானா? Okay.
பராதான் கரெக்ட்டா?
I think so. Yeah, para is only correct. So let me also check that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we'll cover 84 for sure, and 85 we'll see how much we can finish today. So Vanigaru, you can be a student, and Swami, you can be a student. 84. So 84 is Samanta Panchaka Yatra Varnanam. So pilgrimage to Samanta Panchaka. That's the name of the place. So stanza 1. Kvachida tatapano paraga kalhe Purinidadat krita varma kamasunu Yadukula mahila vrita sutirtam Samupagatosi samanta panchakakyam. So at one time, so this is happening before, so some of these things are even in the description in Narayaneeyam, there are bits and pieces which keep coming at various places, right? So timing of this is, so this is before the Yudhishthira does the Rajasoya Yajnam, before all of that, before the war starts between Kauravas and Pandavas, right? It is happening before that point. So here there was one time when a solar eclipse was coming. So anytime there is a solar or a lunar eclipse that comes, right, generally it is considered inauspicious in some places. But that is also the time where they suggest that you should actually fast and you should do more prayers because your benefits will also get multiplied and accelerated. So when the solar eclipse was going to be coming, so everybody decided that they are going to visit this place called Samanta Panchaka. Samanta Panchaka is nothing but Kurukshetra, right? So this Kurukshetra, even before, it says Punya Kshetre, Kurukshetre and everything, before all of that happens, it was considered a very holy and pilgrimage site because even when Parashurama, after he had gotten rid of all the Kshatriyas, he went and did penance at Samanta Panchaka or Kurukshetra. So for several years, it has been considered as a very holy site where everybody assembles for pilgrimage purposes. So naturally, for this, all over that place then, including from Dwaraka, where the Yadavas are leaving, then the Vrishnis, Dev, and the Gopas were also going to be leaving from Vrindavan, everything coming to Samanta Panchaka. Similarly, from Hastinapur, the Kauravas, Pandavas, everybody was going to be assembling into that place. So they were all getting ready to go and meet in Samanta Panchaka for the pilgrimage purpose there. So at that time, Krishna, however, Krishna and Balarama also left, but he left his grandson Aniruddha, who we saw in the previous Dasakam, in charge of Dwaraka, along with Kritavarma, who was his commander in chief. So they were taking care of Dwaraka, and everybody, majority of the people, including men, women, everyone decided to leave for Samanta Panchaka.
Rajeshji, where is this place now?
Kurukshetra. This is Kurukshetra, next to Delhi.
Okay.
So the same thing happened in Parashurama Avadaram, the last sloga they were talking about.
Samanta Panchaka. So after he got rid of all the Kshatriyas, he said, you know what, I'm completely done. Right? So then he wanted to go to a place where he wanted to, he wanted to meditate and do penance. So for all the things he had done, right? And he wanted to cleanse himself. So for cleansing himself, Parashrama went to Samanta Panchakam as well. So that place is a very holy place, right? So Kvachidata Tapan Noparaga Kale, Puri Nidadat Kritavarma Kama Sunu Yadukula Mahilavritaha is Mahilavrita Sutirtam, Samupagatosi Samanta Panchakhakyam. Kvachidata tapanoparāga kālhe purinidadat kritavarma kāmasūnu yadukula mahilāvritas sutīrtam samupagatosi samanta panchakākyam.
Kvachidata tapanoparāga kāle purinidadat kritavarma kāmasūnu yadukula mahilāvritas sutīrtam Samupagatosi samanta panchakākyam. Kvachidata tapanoparāga kāle purinidadat kritavarma kāmasūnu yadukula mahilāvritas sutīrtam samupagatosi samanta panchakākyam.
Kvachidata tapanoparāga kāle purinidadat Kritavarma Kamasunu Yadukula Mahilavrita Sudhirtam Samupagato Sisamanta Panchakakyam. Kvachidata tapano paraga kale Purinidadat Kritavarma Kamasunu Yadukula Mahilavrita Sudhirtam Sudhirtam Samupagato Samanta Panchakakyam.
Yeah, and the third line, Sutirtam, Ta only, okay. I think first time you said Ta, second time I heard you said Ta or something. Sutirtam.
Sutirtam.
Stanza 2. Bahutara janata hitaya tatra tomapi punan vinimajya tirtatoyam dvijagana parimukta vittarashihi samamilatah kuru pandavadi mitraihi. So in this Panchakam, Samanta Panchakam, everybody, like we said, they all meet. It's, so they all take bath. They all desire to first observe a fast. So they're going to be staying here for months. So they are going to be doing a lot of homam and a lot of other sacrifices, things are going to be happening. So they all first start with fasting. and taking bath in the river that flows there. I don't know what river flows there, but they take a bath there. And Bhakti says, Krishna, you also purified that land. See, every land, Punya Kshetram, it becomes even better when even more saintly and holy people go visit and sit in that land. So, because in this land, she says, Krishna, you also felt it was holy. You went there, you took a bath in that river, and lot of other rishis and sages also came to that land, making that even more holier, right? So they all did that, and of course, naturally, all these kings, Ugrasena, everybody is, they give a lot of wealth and cows to the Brahmins. I don't mean to say wealth, but they give cows and all the useful things to the Brahmins, right? And then taking care of the people who need this. And you also then spend time with your Kauravas and Pandavas. So at this time, the enmity between Kauravas and Pandavas is not at its high yet. They still hate each other, but not as bad. So everybody is there at this time. Kauravas and Pandavas, everybody is there. बहुतर जनता हिताय तत्र कॉमा त्वमपि पुनन् विनिमज्य तीर्थ toyam is water, tirtham is making it like tirtham, like purified. द्विज गण परिमुक्त वित्त राशिः कॉमा सममिलताः is that put a ich sound, सममिलताः कुरु पांडवादि मित्रैः.
Rajesh,
Yeah, sorry, question.
sorry, third line is it what is the second word? My book has Dija Kula.
Okay, Kula or Gana. See, Dvija means Brahmins. Gana or Kula just means the set of people. So you can just change it to Dvija Gana. Be consistent, but it means the same thing, a group of Brahmins or the Brahmin priests and everybody who's there. बहुतर जनता हिताय तत्र त्वमपि पुनन् विनिमज्य तीर्थतोऽयं द्विजगणपरिमुक्तवित्तराशिः सममिलताः कुरु पाण्डवादिमित्रैः.
बहुतर जनता हिताय तत्र त्वमपि पुनन् विनिमज्य तीर्थतोऽयं द्विजगणपरिमुक्तवित्तराशिः सममिलताः कुरु पाण्डवादिमित्रैः. बहुतर जनता हिताय तत्र त्वमपि पुनन् विनिमज्य तीर्थतोऽयं द्विजगणपरिमुक्तवित्तराशिः सममिलताः कुरु पाण्डवादिमित्रैः.
बहुतर जनता हिताय तत्र त्वमपि पुनन् विनिमज्य तीर्थतोऽयं द्विजगणपरिमुक्तवित्तराशिः सममिलताः कुरु पाण्डवादिमित्रैः. बहुतर जनता हिताय तत्र त्वमपि पुनन् विनिमज्य तीर्थतोऽयं द्विजगणपरिमुक्तवित्तराशिः सममिलताः कुरु पाण्डवादिमित्रैः.
Stanza 3. तव खलु दयिता जनैः समेता द्रुपदसुता त्वयि गाढभक्तिभारा तदुदित भवता हृते प्रकारैः अतिमुमुदे सममन्य भामिनीभिः. So also present there are all the wives of Krishna. They've all come. Draupadi also has come, right? Because along with the Pandavas, Draupadi also has come. So Draupadi is meeting now all the wives of Krishna at the same time. So it's like, whenever we go to a party, then after dinner we say, okay, I want to know how you all got married. Like, where did you all meet? Who proposed first? How did the what do you call Punnu Pakar, if you guys did, how did that go? We all ask, right? So similarly, Draupadi ends up asking. Now the problem is in Draupadi has all these women have a story to tell, right? And Bhagavatam, each of them goes and tells their entire detailed explanation of how happens, right? So the what do you call Rukmini says, I was about to be married to Shishupala. I was coming out of this temple. I wasn't sure if Krishna is going to come. Suddenly he came, grabbed me, put me into the chariot. Then, the Satyabhama says that my father, he had the Semantaka jewel, and then the brother took it, but he suspected Krishna. Krishna went and rescued it. And then because he was obligated, he felt very bad. So I got married, but I also still loved it. And everybody, Jambavati goes and says her story, and Kalindi, Mitravinda, Lakshmana, Satya, everybody goes and says that story. And this is Lakshmana. She says, and Draupadi is there. She says, just like how your Swayamvaram, there was a fish tied. Even my Swayamvaram also there was a fish that was tied. But she says mine was even harder. So she says in mine, at least in yours, in Draupadi's, it says the fish was, it was not completely enclosed. The fish was open, rotating up, and you have to still look at the water and hit it. But somehow you can look at the reflection on a pillar and different things. She says Arjuna was able to hit it. Mine, even that was enclosed, so you cannot see anywhere. So Arjuna, Karna, Duryodhana, Bhima, everybody tried hitting it, right? And Arjuna slightly missed it, but only Krishna was able to exactly shoot the arrow through it. So everybody is going around, talking about how they got married and how life is with Krishna. So all of that is happening. So Tava Khalu Daita, and here it also says, this Draupadi it says Ghada Bhakti Bara. This Draupadi is extremely devoted to you, Krishna, right? And we're going to see some of that come up in the next chapter 85. But it says she absolutely adores you, and she, of course, she treats Krishna as her brother, and so she was very curious, right, with all these people. Tava Kalu Daita Janaihi, put is Janai Sameta, comma Drupada Sutha Tvai Gadha Bhakti Bara Tadudita Bhavadahriti Prakaraihi, comma Ati Mumude Samamanya Bhaminibihi. Tava khalu dayita janai samheta drupada suta tvai gada bhakti bhara tadudita bhavadahrite prakaraihi ati mumude samamanya bhamini bihi.
Tava khalu dayita janai sameta drupada suta tvai gada bhakti bhara tadudita bhavadahriti prakaraihi ati mumude samamanya bhaminibhihi. Tava khalu dayita janai sameta drupada suta tvai gada bhakti bhara tadudita bhavadahriti prakaraihi ati mumude samamanya bhaminibhihi.
Tava khalu dayita janai sameta drupada suta tvayi gada bhakti bara tadudita bhavadahriti prakaraihi ati mumude samamanya bhamini bihi. Tava khalu dayita janai sameta drupada suta tvayi gada bhakti bara tadudita bhavadahriti prakaraihi ati mumude samamanya bhamini bihi.
Stanza 4. Tadanu cha bhagavan niriksha gopan ati kukudadupagamya manayitva chiratara viraha turanga rekhaha pashupavadhu sarasam tomanvayasi. So now all the Vrishnis or the Yadavas and the Gopas, or everybody is meeting. So you have Vasudeva and Devaki, then you have Nanda Gopa, Rukmini, and then Rohini is there. Everybody is meeting now, right? So Vasudeva and everybody, they embrace Nanda Gopa, and they all say, they talk about Vasudeva remembers how Kamsa had troubled them so much that he was then forced to leave, right? And then he ended up leaving Rohini back with Nanda Gopa. And then although all of them, Nanda Gopa and Yashoda, they all have heard about the greatness of Krishna in Dwaraka, about all the great things he did in Mathura, about he's now Dwarakadesh. They've heard a lot of things about him. But for them, they still looked at Krishna and Balarama as 80-year-old boys who left, right? Or 10-year at the time when they left for Kim Kamsa, they still were thinking of them in that manner, right? So then Rohini, everybody is then Rohini and Devaki and all are thanking Yashoda, saying, we are so indebted to you, because at a time when Balarama and Krishna and Balarama came there, Yashoda absolutely took care of them, especially of Krishna. So for Krishna, Yashoda was like a mother. He didn't even, of course Krishna knows, but according to them, Krishna did not know, right, that Devaki was the mother originally and all that. So you still took care of them like real parents, and then you were taking care of them, protecting them, and then you made sure that they had nothing to worry about. So they all were thanking each other, and then they were all meeting after a really long time. Then Kunti is also joining because Kunti is also a sister with Vasudeva, right? So Kunti is then telling, what she tells Vasudeva, that I understand that you all had a lot of things to go through, but I also had a lot of sufferings, right? That I am also suffering. My children are suffering at the hands of the Kauravas and the Dhritarashtra's. However, there's nobody is there to kind of help us out as well. So, she's also kind of outpouring her grief and everything. And then, but most importantly here, you then also, Krishna and Balarama also go meet the Gopikas. So we're going to see a little bit more of that coming later, but you're also going and meeting the Gopikas are also there, who Bhadrapad says out of sorrow have become extremely weak because time has also passed, right? So Krishna left when he was 10. Now, he's much older, right? So it is because during the Mahabharata war, Krishna was 80 years old. So he's somewhere close in that 70s right now. So everybody has become old. They have all become weak and fragile. But Krishna goes and meets everybody. Tadanucha Bhagavan Niriksha Gopan, put a in there, comma, that na that is there will break it, Gopan, comma. Next word starts with a A. Ati Kutukhad Upagamya Manayitva Chiratara Virahaturanga Rekhaha, comma. Pashupa Vadhuhu, put a is, Vadhu Sarasam Twamanvayasihi. तदनु च भगवन्निरीक्ष्य गोपान् अतिकुतुकादुपगम्यमानयित्वा चिरतरविरहातुराङ्गरेखाः पशुपवधूः सरसं त्वमन्वयासीः.
तदनु च भगवन्निरीक्ष्य गोपान् अतिकुतुकादुपगम्यमानयित्वा चिरतरविरहातुराङ्गरेखाः पशुपवधूः सरसं त्वं मन्वयासीः. तदनु च भगवन्निरीक्ष्य गोपान् अतिकुतुकादुपगम्यमानयित्वा चिरतरविहतातु राङ्गरेखाः पशुपवधूः सरसं त्वमन्वयासीः.
तदनु च भगवन्निरीक्ष्य गोपान् अतिकुतुकादुपगम्यमानयित्वा चिरतरविरहातुराङ्गरेखाः पशुपवधूः सरसं त्वमन्वयासीः. तदनु च भगवन्निरीक्ष्य गोपान् अतिकुतुकादुपगम्यमानयित्वा चिरतरविरहातुराङ्गरेखाः पशुपवधूः सरसं त्वमन्वयासीः.
Stanza 5. Sapadi cha bhavadikshanotsavena pramushitamanahridam nitambininam atirasa parimukta kanchulike parichaya hridyatare kuche nyalaishihi. So this is a very nice, so then the Gopikas are coming, and then this Balarama and Krishna are sitting there. So Balarama sees that these Gopikas are standing there and he knows they're very eager to see Krishna, right? So what Balarama does is he actually walks away from that place because he wants the Gopikas to spend time with Krishna, right? He doesn't want to be in there, like to give them space. So the Gopikas, they come, and because they have been separated from Krishna for so many years, they just did not know how to react, right? And so here Bhatripad uses the word embracing, right? They're hugging, but it says in Bhagavatam, it says they are not physically, they're just mentally, they are just embracing, and that itself gives them so much happiness and satisfaction. And Krishna individually, they have a feeling that Krishna is individually embracing each of them as well. That's the feeling they are getting. And then they become extremely happy, and somehow all of the sorrow and everything just completely dissipates for them, right? And they become much more calmer and everything. And then Krishna then tells them, he says that I know you all feel that I'm extremely ungrateful, right? I left and then I never came back, but he says, what can I do? The Supreme Lord is there. He controls everything. And he has to, only when he thinks I need to come, I can come there. There's nothing much I can do about it, right? Krishna says that. So the Gopika says, that's like a nice, you continue to be your clever person, right? He says, we know you are the Supreme Lord himself. So you're just trying to escape out, right? By telling that, the Supreme Lord has to tell, at the end of the day, we know you are the one who makes all the decisions. So you decided not to come, right? You decided not to come and see us, right? So they're having a chat. So Krishna says, if you know, then I am the Supreme Lord, then you should know I am also there everywhere. I am in each of you. I am there in Gokulam. I'm there in Vrindavan. I'm here in Mathura. I'm here in Samanta Panchaka. So the physical, he again reiterates that the fact that I am not there with you physically should not be a reason why you are not still thinking about me. You can still continue to think about me, right? And he says, even though I'm the Supreme Lord, he says, I'm still moved by your love and affection, and I'm always going to be with you, right? So he talks about that. And then he also reminds the Gopikas that in your previous birth, you all were great sages who had understood jnana yoga, the knowledge. You all had great knowledge, right? And the one thing that was actually slightly missing for you was that love. The devotion and the love was slightly missing, right? So that's why you all even got the opportunity to be born, right? In the Krishna Avataram was happening. That was the reason all the Gopikas also got an opportunity, the sages got an opportunity to be born as Gopikas. So just in addition to the knowledge they have gained, they also get the bhakti and the devotion and the love along with the Lord. So he says, just like how Uddhava has already preached you, same thing Krishna is also telling the Gopikas here. So Sapadi cha Bhavadikshanotsaveena, Bhavad Ikshanotsavena, but you can say it together, Bhavadikshanotsaveena, comma, Pramushita Mana Hridam Nitambininam, comma, Ati Rasa Parimukta Kanchulike, comma, Parichaya Hridyatare Kuche Nyalaishihi. Sapadi cha bhavadikshanotsavena pramushitamaana nitambininam atirasa parimukta kanchulike parichaya hridyatare kuche nyalaishihi.
Sapadi cha bhavat ikshanotsavena pramushitamaana hridam nitambina ninam atirasa parimukta kanchulike parichaya hridya tare kuche nyalaishihi. Sapadi cha bhavadikshanotsavena pramushitamaana hridam nitambini ninam atirasa parimukta kanchulike parichaya hridyatare kuche nyalaishihi.
Sapadi cha bhavadikshanotsavena pramushitamaana hridam nitambininam atirasa parimukta kanchulike parichaya hridyatare kuche nyalaishihi. Sapadi cha bhavadikshanotsavena pramushitamaana hridam nitambininam atirasa parimukta kanchulike parichaya hridyatare kuche nyalaishihi.
Stanza 6. Ripujana kalahaif punah punarme samupagatairiyati vilambana bhut iti krita parirambhane tvayidrak atibivasha khalu radhika nililye. Like we said, although Bhagavatam and others do not talk about Radha separately, they just talk about it as one specific Gopika. Here, Bhattaripad is talking. Now, you also then go and spend, even Radha, who was she had also moved on, right? So, you go and now meet with Radha also and tell her about how, with all these wars and everything that was going on, you have not had a chance to come, right? And so, essentially, they kind of say, right, you close the chapter. So, kind of officially, he went into the Gopikas, everybody, and Krishna is officially closing the chapter, saying, yep, I spent a lot of time, I moved out, I've been away for a long time, but I'm not going to come and meet anymore, right? So he's finally closing the chapter with each of the Gopikas also. So same thing he's doing with Radha. This is called Radhika here. Ripu Jana Kalahaihi is there, put a F there. Kalahaif Punaha, put a F, Punaf Punarme, comma, Samupagatair Iyati, if you want to break it, or you can say it together, Samupagatair Iyati Bilambana Bhut Iti krita parirambhane tvayidrak ik, comma, ati vivasha khalu radhika nililye. Ripujana kalahaif punah punarme samupagatairiyati vilambana bhut iti krita parirambhane tvayidrak ati vivasha khalu radhika nililye.
Ripujana kalaif punarme samupagater Yayiti.
No, iyati. So samupagatairiyati.
Samupagater yayiti vilambana.
Iyati.
Iyati. Samupagater riyati vilambana bhut. Iti krita parirambane tvayidrak. Ati vivesha khalu radhika nililye. Ripujana kalaif punaf punarme.
Vani garu.
Yeah.
Kalahaif.
Yeah. Ripujana kalahaif punaf punarme samupagater riyati vilambana bhut iti krita parirambane rambane iti krita parirambane tvayidrak ati vivasha khalu radhika nililye.
रिपुजन कलहैः पुनर्मे समुपगतैर्यति विलम्बनाभूत् इति कृतपरिरम्भणे त्वयिद्राक् अतिविवशा खलु राधिका निलिल्ये रिपुजन कलहैः पुनर्मे समुपगतैर्यति विलम्बनाभूत् इति कृतपरिरम्भणे त्वयिद्राक् इति विवशा खलु राधिका निलिल्ये.
We'll do 7 and 8 meaning together.
One quick question, right?
Yeah.
Rajesh here. Drak and ati or iti?
Ati. Drak ati vivasha.
Okay.
Apagata viraha vyatas tada taha. Put a visarga there in comma. Taha. Rahasi vidhaya dadata tattva bodham. Parama sukha chidatmakoham. So that chit atmaka. It's there, 2 words there. You can say it together. Chidatmakoham atmet. So that we can put a plus, and you won't be quite able to separate it. So once you say chidatmakoham, then atmet yudayatu. Atmet yudayatu. Vaha is there. Put a is was. Sputameva cheta siti. So that lines 3 and 4 are essentially together. In case you have chidatma koham atmeti udayatu. If that is the other way, you might probably have, because they might have separated it. In that case, just put aham atmet yudayatu. Sorry. So in case any of you have that, let me know. I'll tell you what the exact letters are.
And the kohamla kama unda.
That whole 3 and 4 are together.
Oh,
Apagata viraha vyatastadhataha rahasi vidaya dadata tattva bodham paramasuka chidatmakohamatmetyudayadu vasphutameva chetasiti.
Apagata viraha vyatastadataha rahasi vidhaya dadata tattva bodham paramasukha chidatmakohamatmeti yudayatu vasphutameva chetasiti. Apagata viraha
Vyatas.
Apagata viraha vyatastadataha rahasi vidhaya dadata tattva bodham paramasuka chidatmakohamatmetyuda.
Something you can make it as paramasuka chidatmakohamatmetyudayatu vas.
Okay. Paramasuka chidatmakohamatmetyudayatavasputameva chetasiti. Thank you.
अपगत विरह व्यतास्तदाताः रहसि विदाय ददात तत्त्वबोधं चिदात्मकोहमात्मेत्युदयतु वस्फुटमेव चेतसीति. अपगत विरह व्यतास्तदाताः रहसि विधाय ददात तत्त्वबोधम् परमसुखच्चिदात्मकोऽहमात्मेत्युदयतु वः स्फुटमेव चेतसीति.
Stanza 8. सुखरसपरिमिश्रितो वियोगः किमपि पुरा भवदुद्धवोपदेशैः समभवदमुतः परं तु तासां परमसुखैक्यमही भवद्विचिन्ता. So like he said, right? So Krishna goes and gives very detailed, he gives an explanation about that he is the supreme Brahman. He is there everywhere. He says, you are what you're looking at right now is a body of yours, but your main Atma or your soul is already connected with me, the supreme consciousness. So he kind of gives them all these lectures. He kind of reminds them again and again. And he says, Uddhava also came and preached. Krishna also continues to say that to the Gopikas. So the Gopikas then goes tell at the very end, he says, no, they also praise Krishna as a supreme Brahman, and then they say that even the greatest of mystics and the yogis and the highly learned philosophers, they are always worshipping you. They are worshipping your lotus feet. They are singing greatness about you. But he says, but they say, but we are ordinary people who are engaged in household affairs. So we cannot, first of all, praise you like all those great yogis and all those sages, right? But they say, you please bless us that while we may not be able to do all the great things all they are able to do, you continue to constantly remain in our heart, right? So that is a prayer the Gopikas do at the very end, saying we may not even be doing things right. You try to explain all this jnana yoga and all to us, we get it, but we somehow it's not resting in our mind, right? And we may not be able to do all the right things, but we still want to make sure you're always in my heart, so in our hearts. So Krishna says that there are a lot of devotees who have such high level of intelligence and they completely dedicate themselves to me and they do not desire anything but me. And he says, even to those devotees, when sometimes I offer them liberation, they say, actually, we don't even want to get liberated because we don't know how that is. We are happy right now, right? We're constantly thinking about you and we are happily residing there. So so this is, that's why he says that is very normal, that is totally fine. And you all know the story of Prachetas we spoke about, right? For 10,000 years they are meditating underwater. They say, you know what, you can take your time to come. You don't have to come like you came to Dhruva in 5 months, right? You take your time because we're just so happy just thinking about you. We don't know what's going to happen when you come. You're going to liberate us. Then we don't know how it's going to be in Vaikuntham and all. We are happy the way we are constantly thinking about you. So Krishna says that's also totally fine. A lot of my devotees actually want that. So he kind of again explains all this to the Gopikas. But at the end of the day, net is when they're getting separated now, Krishna wants to make sure that all of them are completely free from any pain, and then they realize that it is totally fine not to be with Krishna in person, right? So that is the net. So in addition to what Uddhava said, Krishna also then preaches to them about this. So sukha rasa parimishhrito viyogaha, comma, kimapi pura bhavat. So it's pura abhavat, but it will come together. Pura bhavat uddhavopadeshaihi. So Uddhava Upadesham. So you kind of, there are multiple words, but you can say it together. Pura bhavat uddhavopadeshaihi. Samabhavat amutaha is there. Put a if. Samabhavat amutah param tu tasam, comma, parama sukaikyamayi bhavat vichinta. Sukarasa parimishhrito viyogaha kimapi pura bhavaduddhavopadeshaihi samabhavat amutah param tu tasam parama sukaikyamayi bhavat vichinta.
सुखरसपरिमिश्रितो वियोगः किमपि पुरभवत् उद्धवोपदेशैः समभवदमुतः परं तु तासां परमसुखैक्यमयी भवत् विचिन्ता सुखरसपरिमिश्रितो वियोगः किमपि पुरा भवदुद्धवोपदेशैः समभवदमुतः परं तु तासां परमसुखैक्यमयी भवत् विचिन्ता.
Some place something was not landing properly, but I think you got the words correct, Vani Garu. So, but it's okay.
Correct. I feel that too.
सुखरसपरिमिश्रितो वियोगः किमपि पुरा भवदुद्धवोपदेशैः समभवदमुतत्पुरं तु तासां परमसुखैक्यमयी भवद्विचिन्ता
Third line,
सुख
param tutasam. You said puram. Param.
परमतुता
Yeah.
सुखरसपरिमिश्रितो वियोगः किमपि पुरा भवदुद्धवोपदेशैः समभवदमुतः परं तु तासां परमसुखैक्यमयी भवद्विचिन्ता.
Stanza 9. मुनिवर निवहैस्तवात पित्रा दुरितशमाय शुभानि पृच्छ्यमानैः त्वयि सति किमिदं शुभान्तरैर्यत्युरुहसितैरपि याजितस्तदासौ. So at the very end, then Vasudeva is then going, Vasudeva is actually going and asking all the sages who are present there that what rites, what sacrifices should I now perform which will eliminate all the sins that I have actually committed in the past, right? He's going and asking all the sages there. So before anybody could answer that, Narada Muni is also there. So he is thinking, Narada Muni interrupts and he says, it is amazing that Vasudeva, in spite of everything that has happened, right, and in spite of everybody telling everything and him seeing in person everything, he still considers Krishna to be his boy, right? Sometimes when your kids grow up and they become the president, for you they are just their boy, right? So he says Vasudeva still does not realize that when you have your own son or the person you are living with is a supreme Lord himself, why should you be worried about doing sacrifices to get rid of your sins? Because this is a blessing that nobody else is going to get, or very few have gotten, right? But somehow Vasudeva is not understanding that and he's continuing to treat Krishna like a boy, right? And he says this is such a blessing. However, he says he had to interrupt because somehow he felt like, what do you call, when even if Vasudeva did not mean to, by going and asking it, it somehow was putting Krishna low, like it was impact diluting the value of Krishna, right? So that's why Narada interrupted and said, you technically don't have to do anything here. You already have Krishna by your side. But that's fine. If you still want to perform sacrifices and everything, you can still go do. There's nothing harm in doing it. But then you really don't have to, right? So Narada made sure that Krishna's presence is recognized there. And that's why it says, Hasitairapi. Everybody was laughing. Why are you coming and asking how to get rid of your sins? You are already way past beyond all of that. But anyway, because Vasudeva asked, they did perform a lot of the sacrifices and everything to just make sure that they're kind of checking the box, and Vasudeva was happy as well. Muni vara nivahais tavata pitra, durita shamaya shubhani prichya manehi त्वयि सति किमिदम shubhantarair ityuru. So even this you have to put a plus at the end of the 3 and 4 lines, right? So shubhantarair ityuru hasitairapi yajitas tadasau. Munivara nivahaistavata petra dunita shamaya shubhani prichhamanehi त्वयि सति किमिदं शुभान्तरैर्यत्युरुहसितैरपि याजितस्तदासौ.
मुनिवर निवहैस्तवात पित्रा दुरितशमाय शुभानि पृच्छमानैः त्वयि सति किमिदं
Shubhantarair, right? Shubhantarair ityuru.
शुभान्तरैरित्युरु हसितैरपि याजितैस्तदासौ. मुनिवर निवहैस्तवात पित्रा दुरितशमाय शुभानि पृच्छमानैः त्वयि सति किमिदं शुभान्तरैरित्युरु हसितैरपि याजितैस्तदासौ.
मुनिवर निवहैस्तवात पित्रा दुरितशमाय शुभानि पृच्छ्यमानैः त्वयि सति किमिदं शुभान्तरैरित्युरुहसितैरपि याजितस्तदासौ मुनिवरनिवहैस्तवात पित्रा दुरितशमाय शुभानि पृच्छमानैः त्वयि सति किमिदं शुभान्तरैरित्युरुहसितैरपि याजितस्तदासौ.
All right, we'll just switch. Mananji, you can be a student, and Vasu, can you be a student today?
Yeah.
Rajesh,
quick question.
Hmm.
On the ninth line, the last line, Tvaisati kimidam shubhantara rari.
Rai. Shubhanta Rair.
Oh, iti varada.
And the iti and uru, if you have iti and uru hasitair, right? So you just have to combine that. So it becomes Shubhantarair it yuru.
Sorry.
I'll type it in the chat. Okay. Shubhantarair it yuru hasitair. I just typed it there. Okay. English la. So I think the iti and u becomes ityu.
Ityur. Okay.
Rajesh.
Yeah.
Rajesh ji, the last word, is it yajidais tadaso or yajidas tadaso?
Yajitas tadaso.
Okay, thank you.
First. Stanza 10. Sumahati yajane vitayamane pramudita jane sahaiva gopaha yadujana mahitastrimasa matram bhavadanushangara sampureva bhejuhu. So I think the last two stanzas are just wrap up. Essentially they stay there for 3 months, like we said, and they all spend time together and they perform all the sacrifices and everything, and everybody is just spending their time along with the gopikas, along the yadavas. Everybody is spending time together. Sumahati yajane vitaya mane, pramudita mitra jane sahaiva gopaha yadu jana mahitas trimasa matram, Bhavad anushanga rasam pureva bhejuhu. Sumahati yajane vitayamane pramudita mitra jane sahaiva gopaha yadujana mahitastrimasa matram bhavad anushanga rasam pureva bhejuhu.
Sumahati yajane vitayamane प्रमुदितमित्रजने सहैव गोपाः यदुजनमहितास्त्रिमासमात्रं भवदनुशङ्करसम्पुरेव बेजुः सुमहदीयजने वितायमाने प्रमुदितमित्रजने सहैव गोपाः यदुजनमहितास्त्रिमासमात्रं भवदनुशङ्करसम्पुरेव बेजुः
Sumahatiya jane vitayamane pramudita mitra jane sahaiva gopaha yadujana mahitastrima trimasa matram bhavadhanu shangara sampureva bejuhu. Sorry. Sumahatiya jane vitayamane pramudita mitra jane sahaiva gopaha Yadujana mahitastrimasa matram bhavadanu shangara sampureva bejuhu.
Stanza 11. Vyapagama samaye samhitya radham dridhamupaguhya niriksha vitakhedam pramudita hridayah puram prayatah pavana pureshwara pahi mam gadebhyah. So again, the time of departure, Bhattacharya says, you finally go meet with Radha one more time and make sure that even she is completely devoid of any sorrow, right? And then, and then you all depart and then you all go back to Dwaraka. Everybody kind of goes back to their respective places. O Pavana Pureshwara Pahimam, please eradicate or save me from all the diseases and ailments. Vyapagama Samaye Sametya Radham, Dridham Upaguhya Nirikshya Vita Kedam Pramudita Hridayaha Hridayah Puram Prayataha, Pavanapureshwara Pahimam Gadebhyaha. व्यपगमसमये समेत्य राधां दृढमुपगूह्य निरीक्ष्य वीतखेदां प्रमुदितहृदयः पुरं प्रयातः पवनपुरेश्वर पाहि मां गदेभ्यः।
व्यपगमसमये समेत्य राधा दृढमुपगूह्य निरीक्ष्य वीतखेदा प्रमुदितहृदयः पुरं प्रयातः पवनपुरेश्वर पाहि मां गदेभ्यः। व्यपगमसमये समेत्य राधां दृढमुपगूह्य निरीक्ष्य वीतखेदां प्रमुदितहृदयः पुरं प्रयातः पवनपुरेश्वर पाहि मां गदेभ्यः।
Yeah, you see,
Yeah.
sorry, second line, Dridamuba Guhya or Guhya, short or long?
Long, guhya.
Okay, thank you.
व्यपगमसमये समेत्य राधां दृढम् उपगूह्य निरीक्ष्य वेतखेदां प्रमुदितहृदयः पुरं प्रयातः पवनपुरेश्वर पाहि मां गदेभ्यः। व्यपगमसमये समेत्य राधां दृढम् उपगूह्य निरीक्ष्य वीतखेदां प्रमुदितहृदयः पुरं प्रयातः पवनपुरेश्वर पाहि मां गदेभ्यः।
Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Okay, we move on to 86. This chapter is 84 took longer than I thought, but it's okay. Because 86 is going to take a really long time because 86, every stanza is a story of its own. But we won't get into that level of detail. So it's two main things which are happening there. Salvadi Vada Varnanam. So getting rid of Salva, that's number one. Second is Bharata Yuddha Varnanam. So everything that is happening in the Mahabharata context, right, towards the end, all of that is condensed in this chapter, including Bhagavad Gita is condensed in this chapter. So there's so many things that happen in this. So we'll at least try to touch on the key things, but we won't get into too much details. So stanza 1. Salvo Bhaishmi Vivahe Yadubhala Vijitah Chandrachudadvimanam Bindan Saubham Samahi Twai Vasati Kurun Twatpurim Abhyabhankshit Pradyumnastam Nirundhan Nikila Yadubataihi Nyagrahidugraviryam Tasya Matyam Dhyumantam Vyajanicha Samaras Saptavimshatyahantah. So if you remember this Shalva, he was a very close friend of Shishupala and everything. So at the time of Rukmini marriage, this was saying Salva was one of the kings who was defeated, and then however, like Krishna let them go. A lot of people he didn't do anything because he knew there were certain things they had to do later on, right? According to their destiny. So anyway, so when Krishna and Balarama and all let Salva go, so this Salva then decided, he took a vow that he's somehow going to get rid of all of these Yadavas. So anytime anybody wants something quick, the first person they go to is Lord Shiva, because Shiva is Ashutoshi. He's a person who can be very quickly pleased. So what Shalva does, he does prayers by only eating dust. That's the only thing he doesn't eat anything. He starves himself. He eats dust, and then he prays for a year. And finally Shiva comes in front and she asks, what do you want? Salva says, I need something. I need a machine that can fly. He was asking for a spaceship. He says, I want this spaceship which can go anywhere to any corner of this earth, right? And then I can go in an instant to any place I want, and then I'll be able to fire missiles or anything I want from that spaceship onto any city. So the Lord Shiva then gives him that. So he says, you have that. So that is called as, it's called Saubha. So that's where the word comes. Saubha, Saubham, Vimanam, it comes. So Vimanam is something which can fly, a spaceship, and his name is Saubham. So when Krishna and Balarama and all are there in Indraprastha for some discussions, right? Pandavas, Kauravas time. So at that time, Salva decides to then attack Dwaraka. So he attacks Dwaraka in this Saubham Vimanam. However, Pradyumna and all of them are there. So they all try to, the Adavas, they all go out to battle. But however, the Salva, because of this Vimanam, it's like the, they say UFO, right? The spaceship can suddenly disappear. It'll be here, it'll be there somewhere else. So they're not able to fight with it for a really long time, but somehow they defend it, right? They keep battling against it. Pradyumna gets hurt, then he comes back. However, this battle is going on for some time, but they're not able to. This 27 days, the battle is going on right now between Pradyumna and the Yadavas and Salva and his army.
Rajesh, one just question. Rajesh, this Salva is also in Parashurama Avadara, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, because if you remember, there is one story there, and I'll pull the stanza. You're right, because he'll say he will let you go because Krishna is the one who has to get rid of you.
So the same Salva or the same their
Some of these people live through multiple thousands of years.
Oh,
Okay, there are a lot of such people who are there, right? So to your point, thanks for reminding that. So I think like I remember that stanza in Parashurama Avataram where he says that where did that go? Yeah, in the 10th stanza, right? So in the 10th stanza it says Krishno mum nihanishyati iti shamito yuddhat kumareir bhavan. Parashurama fights with him and says, I'm going to let you go because according to Parashurama, Krishna is the one who is going to get rid of you. So Parashurama doesn't do anything to him. So it's the same salva. You're right. So salvo bhaishmi vivahe yadu bala vijitaha. So the ish that is there, put a visarga and a comma, remove it, vijitaha. Chandra chudad vimanam, comma, Bindan Saubham Samayi Twai Vasati Kurun. The is that you have there, replace it with the in. Kurun in, comma. Twat Purim Abhyabhankshit. Salvo Bhaishmi Vivahe Yadubala Vijitah Chandra Chudad Vimanam Bindan Saubham Samayi Twai Vasati Kurun. Twatpurim abhyabhankshit.
Swalo Bhaishmi Vivahe Yadubala Vijitaha Chandra Chudadvimanam Vindan Saubam Samai Toi Vasadi Kurun Tatpurim Abhyabhankshit.
Salvo, I think first you said something else, Anandji.
Salvo.
Yeah, correct.
Salvo Bhaishmi Vivahe Yadubala Vijitaha Chandra Chudadvimanam Vindan Saubam Samai Toi Vasadi Kurun Tatpurim Abhyabhankshit.
Salvo Vaishmi Vivahe Yadubala Vijitaha Chandra Chudad Vimanam Vindam Saubham Samai Vaivasati Kurun Vatpurim Abhyabhankshit. Salvo Vaishmi Vivahe Yadubala Vijitaha Chandra Chudad Vimanam Vindam Saubham Samai Vaivasati Kurun Vatpurim Abhyabhankshit.
Pradyum Nastam Nirundhan Nikhila Yadu Bataihi. Put a visarga and a comma there. Yadu Bataihi. Next word on top of Nyagrahid, you'll see a ir there. You can remove that. So Nyagrahid Ugra Viryam, comma. Tasya Matyam Dyumantam, comma. Vyajani Cha Samaraha, put a is Samaras. Sapta Vimshatyahantaha. Pradyumnastam nirundhan nikila yadubhataihi nyagrahidugraviryam tasya matyam dyumantam vyajanicha samaras sapta vimshatyahantaha.
Pradyumnastam nirundan nikila yadubhataihi nagrahidugraviryam tasya matyam dyumandam vyajanicha samaras sapta vimshatyahantaha. Pradyumnastam nirundan nikila yadubhataihi nagrahid ugraviryam tasya matyam dyumandam vyajanicha samaras sapta vimshatyahantaha.
Pradyumnastam nirundam nikila yadubhataihi nyagrahid ugraviryam tasyamatyam dyumantam vyajanicha samaras sapta vimshatyahantaha. Pradyumnastam nirundam nikila yadubhataihi nyagrahid ugraviryam tasyamatyam dyumantam vyajanicha samaras Sapta Vimshatyahantaha.
Also on the third line, Nirundhan. I heard Nirundhan Nikila.
Nirundhan Akila.
Nikila. Yeah.
Nikila. Okay.
Answer 2. तावत्त्वं रामशाली त्वरितमुपगतः खण्डितप्रायसैन्यं सौभेशं तं न्यरुन्धाः स च किल गदया शार्ङ्गमभ्रंशयत्ते मायातातं व्यहिंसीदपि तव पुरतः तत्त्वयापि क्षणार्धं नाज्ञायीत्याहुरेके तदिदमवमतं व्यास एव न्यषेधीत्. So when Krishna and Balarama come back to Dwaraka, they just find that the city is completely under siege. So immediately then Krishna then goes out to battle with Salva, right? And then the battle between Krishna and Salva goes on. He's throwing something, Krishna is throwing something, and the battle is just going on for a long amount of time. Then at one point Salva even shoots something, and it hits Krishna's Saranga bow, which is holding. So suddenly everybody's beginning to panic, saying, "Oh my God, this Salva is even more powerful than we thought." Right? That he's looks like Krishna himself might get defeated in this battle. So at that time, what happens then is Salva suddenly disappears. And then, like we said, this Saubham, this spaceship of yours can suddenly disappear, go out of sight. And then suddenly one person comes running to Krishna. And he says, that Devaki has sent me. And he says, he says Devaki sent. And he says that your father is in danger. Salva has just directly gone and he's kidnapped your father, right? Vasudeva Nandagopal. It doesn't say who, but I think Vasudeva, I think. His father, he's kidnapped your father because Devaki. So, and then you have to do something about it. So when this messenger is coming and telling Krishna, at the same time, there's another person who's actually bringing Vasudeva right there. And then that person is beheading Vasudeva in front of Krishna's eyes, right? So then, some people say, the text, it also says that Krishna is taken aback. But then immediately they themselves counter, even Bhagavatam and even here, even Bhattacharya says, Vyasa himself has said, there's no way Krishna would have thought that is true. He knows what Salva is capable of. He knows what Maya he can do. But Krishna, sometimes he has to put up a show. So he might have acted as if, that he is amazed. Oh my God, my father is getting beheaded. What are you guys doing, right? He must have acted, but there's no way he would have been, he would have been amazed. He knows what is actually happening. So that's what is happening. So Salva is trying all this magic or, illusions, right, to distract the warriors and Krishna. So Tavatvam Ramashali त्वरितम् उपगतः खण्डित प्राय सैन्यं सौभेशं तं न्यरुन्धाः स च किल गदया शार्ङ्गम् अभ्रंशयत्ते. If you want to break it, शार्ङ्गम् अभ्रंशयत्ते. तावत्त्वं रामशाली त्वरितमुपगतः खण्डितप्रायसैन्यं सौभेशं तं न्यरुन्धाः स च किल गदया शार्ङ्गमभ्रंशयत्ते.
तावत्तं रामशाली त्वरितमुपगतः खण्डितप्रायसैन्यं सौभेशं तं निरुन्धाः स च किल गदया शार्ङ्गमभ्रंशयत्ते. तावत्त्वं रामशाली त्वरितमुपगतः खण्डितप्रायसैन्यं सौभेशं तं निरुन्धाः स च किल गदया शार्ङ्गमभ्रंशयत्ते.
तावत्त्वं रामशाली त्वरितमुपगतः खण्डितप्रायसैन्यं सौभेशं तं निरुन्धाः स च किल गदया शार्ङ्गमभ्रंशयत्ते. तावत्त्वं रामशाली त्वरितमुपगतः खण्डितप्रायसैन्यं सौभेशं तं निरुन्धाः स च किल गदया शार्ङ्गमभ्रंशयत्ते.
शार्ङ्गम् अभ्रंशयत्ते.
Sharngam.
Yeah, correct. The R sound has to come there.
Okay.
Maya tatam vyahimsidapi tava purataha. That is there. Remove it. Visarga comma purataha. Tattva yapi kshanardham comma Nagnya ityahu reke. So that you have to kind of say it together. Nagnya ityahu reke comma Tadidam avamatam vyasa eva nyashedhit. माह्यातातं व्यहिंसीदपि तव पुरतः तत्त्वयापि क्षणार्धं नाज्ञायीत्याहुरेके तदिदमवमतं व्यास एव न्यषेधीत्.
माया तातं विहिंसीदपि तव पुरतः तत्त्वया विक्षणार्थं ज्ञायीत्याहुरेके तदिदमवत्मतं व्यासेव न्यषीदीत् माया तादं विहिंसीदपि तव पुरतः तत्त्वया विक्षणार्थं नाज्ञायीत्याहुरेके तदिदमवमतं व्यास एव न्यषेदीत्
माया तातं व्यहिंसीत् अपि तव पुरतः तत्त्वयापि क्षणार्धं नान्यायीत्याहुरेके तदिदमवमतं व्यास एव न्यषीदीत् न्यषेधीत् माया तातं व्यहिंसीत् अपि तव पुरतः तत्त्वयापि क्षणार्धं नाज्ञायीत्याहुरेके तदिदमव तदिदम् अवमतं व्यास एव न्यषेधीत्
Chhatri. क्षिप्त्वा सौभं गदाचूर्णितमुदकनिधौ मंशुसाल्वेऽपि चक्रे नोत्कृत्ते दन्तवक्त्रः प्रसभमभिपतन्नभ्यमुञ्चद्गदां ते कौमोदक्याहतोऽसावपि सुकृतनिधिश्चैद्यवत् प्राप्य दैक्यं सर्वेषामेष पूर्वं त्वयि धृतमनसां मोक्षणार्थोऽवतारः. So this battle continues between Krishna and Salva, right? Like we said, we're throwing arrows and all that stuff. And finally, Krishna decided enough is enough. So he takes Kaumodaki's club, which is called Kaumodaki. The Saranga was the bow that Krishna was having. Kaumodaki is the club that Krishna is having. So he takes that, he first smashes the Saubham, that aerial vehicle of Salva, into multiple pieces and then discards it into the ocean. So that completely goes away. Next, when Salva is coming for a battle, then Krishna takes a Sudakshina Chakra and gets rid of Salva. So once Salva is done, now to avenge his death, there's one more person who's still pending in this entire list. If you remember, Shishupala, we saw what happened. That happened during the Rajasuya Yajna. Shishupala is abusing Krishna and all that. So if you remember that Jaya Vijaya, how we first started in the 11th Dasakam, right? That becomes Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, becomes Ravana, Kumbhakarna. Then Shishupala, Dantavaktra. So Dantavaktra, there's not much story behind that. So he is also, but he's still there. So Shishupala, now this Dantavaktra is coming for a battle. So you take again your this Kaumodakya along with this Kaumoda club. You also get rid of Dantavaktra also. So he says this finally, after this 3 births, this Shishupala, Dantavaktra, they all finally go back and merge into you, because at the end of the day, they're the Jaya Vijaya from Vaikuntham who are there. So finally, this one of this mokshanato avataraha. So this incarnation of yours is to give moksham, liberation to everybody who's pending. Final things. This is the last place where they can come and get liberation. So similarly, you go and give moksham to Shishupala, Dantavaktra also, along with Shishupala. Kshiptva saubham gada churnitam udakanidhau, comma, mangshu salvepi chakre, and then put a plus. Chakre notkritte danta vaktraha, then comma. So one comma after nidhau, then plus, and then comma after danta vaktraha. Prasabham abhipatan nabhya munchat. Prasabham abhipatan nabhya munchat gadamte. क्षिप्त्वा सौभं गदा चूर्णितमुदकनिधौ मंक्षुसाल्वेऽपि चक्रेणोत्कृत्ते दन्तवक्त्रः प्रसभमभिपतन्नभ्यमुञ्चद्गदां ते.
क्षिप्ता सौभं गदा चूर्णितमुदकनिधौ मंक्षुसाल्वेऽपि चक्रेणोत्कृत्ते दन्तवक्त्रः प्रसभमभिपतन्नभ्यमुञ्चद्गदां ते. क्षिप्त्वा सौभं गदा चूर्णितमुदकनिधौ मंक्षुसाल्वेऽपि चक्रेणोत्कृत्ते दन्तवक्त्रः प्रसभमभिपतन्नभ्यमुञ्चद्गदां ते.
क्षिप्त्वा सौभं गदा चूर्णित उदकनिधौ मग्नुषु साल्वेऽपि चक्रे नोत्कृते दन्तवक्त्रः prasabham abhipatan nabyamunchad ghadam te. And the tune in
அந்த first line வந்து மங்ஷு ing.
Mangshu. Okay, okay.
Yeah, try it again, else I'll tell you. Yeah.
Okay. Shiptva saubam gata chunitam udakanidhau Mangshu. Okay. Magnushu சொல்றேனோ. Mangshu salvepi chakre notkritte dantavaktraha prasabam abhipatan nabyamunchad ghadam te.
Correct. So just one small correction. The chakre notkrite, it has to kind of come together. Okay, that's why you put the plus, because it's chakrena utkrite. Those are two words. So the na, which is coming in the second line, technically has to come along with the chakre. Okay, you can just practice it and that's okay.
Okay.
Kaumodakya hatosavapi, comma, sukrita nidish chaidya vat prapad aikyam, comma, सर्वेषामेष पूर्वं त्वयि धृत मनसां, कॉमा, मोक्षणार्थोऽवतारः. कौमोदक्या हतोऽसावपि सुकृतनिधिश्चैद्यवत् प्रापदैक्यं सर्वेषामेष पूर्वं त्वयि धृत मनसां मोक्षणार्थोऽवतारः.
ஒரே நிமிஷம், எனக்கு அந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லைன் கொஞ்சம் திருப்பி ஒரு வாட்டி. கௌமோதக்யா hatosau dane.
Hatosa. Okay, so if you have hatosau, then you will have api then. Okay, I think ungalோட bookல somehow they separating all of these words. So it's hatosavapi.
Is there a comma after that, Rajesh ji?
Yeah, after hatosavapi there is a comma. Yeah, but so
sa வந்து stretch பண்ணு. Sa apiya
vapi, va Victor, vs and vasu. So hatosavapi.
Okay.
And the au and a becomes va. Okay, so if you have asau and api, it becomes asavapi.
Okay, thanks.
Kaumodakya hadosavapi sukrtanidishchaidyavat prabadaikyam sarveshameva purvam toyi dhృతమనసా మోషణార్థో వదారః.
That fourth line, first word, sarveshamesha. You said va, sha.
Sarveshameva.
Sarveshamesha. Can you change it to sha?
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then there's a comma after. Yeah. There's a comma after dhrita manasam.
Oh, dhrita manasam. Okay. Thank you, Rajesh. Kaumodakya hadosavapi sukrtanidishchaidyvat prabadaikyam sarveshamesha purvam toyi dhrita manasam moshanartho vadarah.
Kaumodakya hatosavapi sukrutanidhi chaidhyavat prapadakyam sarveshamesha purvam tvayi dhrita manasam mokshanartho vatarah.
The third line la sukrtanidhish ish.
Nidish. Okay, nidhi irukka nidish.
Ish போட்டுருங்க அவ்வளவுதான். ஆமா, to join it.
Okay. Kaumodakya hatosavapi sukrtanidhish chaidhyavat prapadakyam sarveshamesha purvam tvayi dhrita manasam mokshanartho vatarah.
Okay, we'll end the class here. The next stanza we may not be able to complete, but I'll tell the meaning of the next stanza today, since we have 4 minutes, so we don't, because next week it will take more time. So there are two stories which are happening in the next stanza. One of them which you are aware of. So when all of this is happening in Dwaraka, that's when the game of dice is happening in Hastinapur, right? So where the Pandavas, they make a couple of mistakes. One is when Shakuni invites them for the Duryodhana invites Yudhishthira for the game of dice. Yudhishthira goes, and like we said, they discuss everything with Krishna, but they don't discuss this incident with Krishna at all, and they decide to go into that game. And in the game, then Shakuni comes and says, no, my Duryodhana has injured his wrist or something, so he's not able to play, so I want to play. So then Yudhishthira says, that's fine, right? So even he says, at that time also they say Krishna, and this all comes later when somebody asks Krishna, why didn't you do this? So he says, you first of all, you should have asked me. And even if I have said, okay, you should have told me, at least come with me, you should have requested. Two, when Shakuni said Duryodhana cannot play and Shakuni was going to play, you should have said, instead of me, I want Krishna to play. But you also didn't do. Anyway, so all of that happens, and Yudhishthira then finally puts Draupadi. Then there is a big argument that happens whether he even has a right to put Draupadi, right? Because whether he is the owner of Draupadi, right? That is another question that comes. Anyway, all of that is happening. And then you all know that Draupadi Vastrabharanam is happening at that time. What happens is, as they start, so she's coming and saying, I cannot come. I'm not in a stage. It's the time of my month. I cannot come to the stage, to the main court. And she's only wearing Eka Vastram at that time, right? And then they start dragging her with her hair and going there. Then when they start disrobing her, she screams, yells to help with all the people who are there. Bhishma, Dhritarashtra, Drona, everybody she asks for help. Nobody steps up, right? And then even the Pandavas, she has 5 husbands who are super powerful, and nobody, they're all like putting their head in shame and just hanging their head. So finally she comes, she tries really hard as Dushasana is trying to disrobe her. She's holding on to that one robe she's wearing. And finally she comes to a point where she's just holding it with her teeth. That is all that is stopping, right? She's just holding the whatever robe she's wearing with her teeth. And finally, when she's about to give up, like Gajendra Moksham, when she's about to give up and she says there's no other choice, she then yells out to Krishna. Right? When she yells out to Krishna, that's when this robe, it just starts continuously going and they're not able to do anything. So looking at that itself, at that time itself, Bhishma and everybody and Dhritarashtra also knows. I think this is it. They know Krishna has definitely come to help. Although Krishna is not present there physically, they know Krishna is out helping there. That was one incident. The second incident they talk about is when the Pandavas go to Vanavasam. They have 12 plus 1 years. 1 year is Ajñatavasam, where they should not be found. Else they have to do this whole 12 plus 1 again. So during the 12-year period, Duryodhana invites Durvasa to his house and gives him a big feast and says, hey, just like how you had in my house, I want you to go meet Pandavas also, because Draupadi is an excellent cook. Right, so he kind of sends Durvasa to meet with Draupadi and Pandavas. So Draupadi has this vessel, Akshay Patram, which has been given by Surya Bhagavan, and says, anything you want, this Akshay Patram will give you. But only one condition: the moment Draupadi has finished eating and she has turned that vessel over, no more food is available. So Durvasa comes with almost 10,000 or some number of people. He shows up, and Duryodhana sends them, tells them to go at a particular time. So that by the time they come, everybody had finished eating. Draupadi had also finished eating, and she had already turned that vessel over. So Yudhishthira goes and says, what do I do now? So Draupadi says, I don't know, but first tell them. So it happened in Ambarisha Charitram, Durvasa, they all go to take bath and do their prayers and come. So when that goes, Draupadi knows absolutely what to do. But for her always one alternative was, she calls out to Krishna and says, I have absolutely nothing to do. You have to come and help me. So that's when Krishna comes there, and says, I've come. What do you have for lunch? So Draupadi says, I myself am struggling right now. We have 10,000 people who are waiting for me. So he says, that's okay. You go bring that patram that you have. So when Draupadi goes and brings, there's a small piece of spinach or something which is stuck to that vessel, because she's kind of already done. So Krishna just takes that and then he eats that one piece of that. So the moment Krishna ate it, immediately the Durvasa and others suddenly begin to feel full, and they don't want to come back now, because they are worried that Yudhishthira and Draupadi might have cooked us a big feast and we are in no state to go and eat. So they don't want to come there and then insult Yudhishthira by not eating. So they don't even come and they escape away, right? They run away. So he says that those are the ways, 2 ways in which you actually helped Draupadi very big time, because she was so committed to you. She always believed in you and she always wanted you by her side. So with that is the next stanza. So I didn't want to take the time in the next class. So we'll end the class here. सान्ध्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावदेभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनरुरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. That's why they say you should always do a quick Naivedyam to Krishna every day. Because just in case you have less food left and a lot of people come, then they won't feel hungry if Krishna has taken a small bite out of it, right? So anyway.
Rajesh, there's the Panjali, when she is calling Krishna, what is the sloga? Krishna Krishna Mahayogini. What is
Yeah, I think there's a slogan. I don't have that. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, the Vishnu Sahasranamamla, the kadasila ஒன்னு சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா, the last I forgot.
Srirama Rama Rameti.
இல்ல ஸ்ரீராமரா இல்ல, last one பா. அந்த வந்து the last slokam of Vishnu Sahasranam is what because I was listening to Mahabharatam yesterday, that's why I know, otherwise I didn't even know that.
Okay, yeah, we can check. Yeah, just message, because in the Sri Rama Rama vandu Parvati is asking, because this Parvatyo vacha keno payena laguna Vishnor nama sahasrakam padyate pandite nityam shrotum ichhamyaham prabho. So Parvati is saying, okay, great, Vishnu Sahasranam is there, 1,000 names are there, but says for a common man you cannot chant 1,000 names. So she asks Ishvara, which is Shiva, can you make it life easier for people who cannot chant this 1,000 names? So Shiva says, yeah, there is one slokam. So Parvati says, can you give that one slokam which everybody can chant? So then Shiva comes and gives Shri Rama Rama Rameti. So this is very similar. Parvati also does this in Devi Mahatmyam. Vasu, I don't know if you remember. Devi Mahatmyam also, Parvati comes and says, this Devi Mahatmyam is so big, Markandeya has written, people are not going to have time to say all this. So can you give a shortcut? So then that's what the Vasu, this comes in that Siddha Kunchika Stotram, right? If you remember. So that's where Shiva then gives a shortcut. He gives a 2-line or 3-line stanza. Says chant this every day, right? Then it's equivalent to chanting Devi Mahatmya. So since that was Sri Rama. Anyway, I think Vasu, I know what you're telling about, but I'm not remembering that stanza now. So
yeah, me too. I'm just but yeah, yesterday கேக்கும்போது ஆஹா நம்ம படிச்சிருக்கோமே அப்படின்னு I was thinking about it, but Anandi, when as soon as I find it out, I'll just I'll let you know. I'll put it in the group.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
okay, thanks everyone.
Bye everybody.
Rajesh, thank you.
Bye.
Have a great week.